And away we go. This is it. Episode 441. As you told me that because I forgot Laurie Kilmartin. 441 of No Laugh Track Podcast. We're here at Acme, and Laurie Kilmartin is back headlining this week. How are you?
I'm well. I went swimming. I went to the Phillips Aquatic Center. Have you been to it?
No. Well, obviously, when you said that name, I'm like, isn't that the name of the outdoor place? But obviously it can't be.
Well, there's a part, it's like a community center, and they have a pretty good pool. And I sussed it out. I always try to do my pool recon before I get to the gig. And last time I went to the downtown Y pool, but there was some trouble where I had to persuade somebody, and I was like, I don't want to persuade someone in COVID. I just want to buy a pass ahead of time. And this place, I bought 10 passes. I'll use 2 of them. But oh well, you know what? I get to swim, and I don't know.
10 passes just for this in Minneapolis?
Yeah, because they'll expire before Lewis will bring me back, unless we can get him to rebook me within the next 6 months. So if you guys could put the pressure on, that would make my investment worthwhile.
I say you add that. Do you have merch in town with you?
I do.
I say whatever's left on Saturday, you throw that on the merch table.
Throw my pass?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, 8 swims for the same price as a book.
Yeah, there you go.
And the same emotional effort too, as well.
Yeah, there you go. There's ways to recoup some of that dough you're not going to be using. Well, welcome back to Minneapolis. It's been, of course, I listen back like I always do.
You do?
I do, every time.
That is so diligent. I've never listened to a single podcast that I've recorded with Jackie Cation, except for one where we really slogged somebody, and I was like, did that sound as bad as it felt? And then I listened, and I'm like, oh, yeah, we got to take that out. But that's the only time.
Interesting. Well, along those lines, so I was going to ask you, I'll just ask you right now, since you brought up the podcast. Mm-hmm. Patreon. Have you ever considered doing a Patreon where people could pay enough to get the names of people you omit when you guys are gossiping about?
No.
Because that happens all the time. Where
the word
I listen,
gets out.
There's notes that pass across, or you guys are, I don't know, typing it to each other.
Now
or
we're
something.
typing it in the chat.
You're typing it to each other.
Yeah, no, because people, you can't trust people.
No, there wouldn't be a price high enough to keep okay.
No.
That's some good goss.
When
as
we
the kids
both
say.
leave the industry, guess what? Names are going to be named.
Yeah.
But
okay.
So far, we're staying in it. So it's in every club owner's best interest to keep booking us so that we don't talk about you.
There's the good list and the naughty list, right? you and Santa have the list going. You, Santa, and Jackie have the good and naughty list going. So how was? So we're day 2 of your week here at Acme.
Yeah.
How was last night?
Last night was fun. I recorded an album that I released last month, right? And so I still have some bits from the album because I didn't write an entire new 50 minutes during the pandemic,
right.
and work it out and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just in the process of all right, I'll still do this chunk because I need it. So for me, I'm annoyed with myself that I'm doing some stuff that's on the album, but I have a ton of stuff that isn't as well. So I'll probably be happier when I've done the full, shedding of the skin. And then I'll just be regular irritated with my act as opposed to whatever it is now.
Just normal irritated.
Yeah.
But the truth is probably there's so few audience members that are concerned about that.
No, and
right?
We comics always think, and they probably saw my late set and they know that joke and they listen to my album. It's like, probably not. Probably they're like, hey, that lady looks kind of familiar and I can afford the tickets. She's like a cheap Whitney Cummings. Okay, let's go. I'm thinking they're all into me and they're like, they think, they don't know who I am or they think I'm Nikki Glazer's mother or something. So, I should probably not even worry about it at all.
Oh my!
I swear to God, every time I look at Nikki Glazer, for a second I think, hey, I'm way more attractive than I think I am, and then I'm like, oh, that isn't me. That's why. No, I am not that thin, and no, my nose is not that tiny. That's no wonder. No wonder.
God, that's so funny. Oh my goodness! So I listened back. So like I said, I listened back, and that was, of course, when you were here was right before. It was less than a month. COVID shut down.
I know.
February 23rd is when you were here.
I'm trying to think. Were we worried at that point? Did we mention it in the podcast?
We did not mention it. A week or two later, it started coming up on the podcast where I was like, totally joking about it. I had around that time my youngest daughter we had to take her to urgent care for something, and I remember nabbing one of their paper masks, bringing it to the podcast, jokingly putting it on, like, should I put this on to be safe? Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And now a year and a half or 2 years, whatever we are, a year and a half later, I have a dozen masks at home that I wash and reuse, and all the other disposable ones. And
yeah, I think this was my last club date, and then I had like sporadic stuff. I had a Friday, Saturday in Tacoma, which was, if you remember, Seattle was when it first burst out, right? Okay. A ship had come in, and then a nursing home, like everyone in the nursing home got it in Seattle. So I was like, well, I'm an hour south.
How fast does it
that's
travel?
That's more than 6 feet away, right? I'm sure I'll be okay. But I mean, and then I think I came home from New York on March 17th because it was St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And New York had just totally shut down that weekend. Like every day got less and less audience members. And I even canceled the Monday night show because I was like, I feel weird. And the club owner was like, oh, God. Like I was being a pain in the ass a little bit. But, and then the flight home was... It was sparse. Then it was just hunkering down. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was really lucky to not get COVID during that time because I was traveling and being a little cavalier about it.
Yeah. How I assume it changed things in your household. Like it. Well, I mean, I know.
Yeah.
Your
my
mom passed
died.
away, so that was pretty huge.
Yeah.
That's a big change. My condolences, of
Thanks.
course. Some time has passed since then, but like at my house, my two older daughters, distance learning. During a lot of that, did that happen at your house where your son was?
Yeah, my son was on Zoom the
Yeah.
whole time, and I mean, he did a little better in school on Zoom. I don't know if their standards were lowered, but
their standards were lowered.
Yes, but also I think his classrooms are gigantic, like 30, 33 kids. So for someone like him, maybe not having all that stimuli around was good as well. I have no idea. We'll see in 20 years how it affects our kids, What a strange year.
Yeah, for sure. How would you have done if that happened when you were that age and we went to if distance learning would have been possible? Left on your own, basically, I know my kids, one did really well, one not so good, and it was because of the lack of discipline.
You know what? I really don't know. My son missed half of 7th grade and all of 8th grade, right? And those were like awful years for me. So for him, I'm like, if you had to stay home for any year, the middle school years are the best ones to stay home because
I didn't think about it like that. You're right.
Yeah, it's just some 8th graders are like 40 years old mentally and they're awful. And, I know when my son was in 7th grade, he was on crutches most of the time. And, it was tough. So, it might have been a blessing in disguise for him to be home the whole time. And I got to spend a lot of time with him. That was fun. And my mom, before she got COVID, spent a lot of time with him. So, it was a little incubator that maybe we'll look back on differently in time.
Yeah, I think for sure we will. So that, of course, was mentioned. Just going to go back a few things here with episode 371.
Sorry, I didn't go in order. Proper order. What are you talking? You've got all your notes. You mentioned your mother's death too early.
I'm going to have to rewrite this. You have it all wrong. No, stop. So one of the things we talked about was, you were living with two people at the time, your mom and your son.
Right.
But I was going to get to here. So you had mentioned it then, like, well, I recorded an album just back last year. And you were talking about then, like, well, I'm not sure how long it's going to be till I release this thing because I have to go over all the tracks. I don't really want to do that, and I'm worried about new material and turning stuff over and not having to.
Oh, was I worried already then?
Yes.
Well, I know how fast I write. Obviously,
isn't that crazy?
It takes me 20 years to perfect a joke. So, yeah. I mean, it took me a while, and even then I was forced by 800-pound gorilla after I signed a contract. And but I'm glad it's out, and people seem to be responding better to it than I did. So it's okay.
I've listened. Been listening to a lot of Laurie and Jackie shows.
Okay.
And one of them I listened to was when Jackie was talking about doing the podcast with Chad Daniels and Cy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Chad was calling your album the same thing, me mispronouncing it. I'm part of that group, Laurie.
Oh, Corset.
Yes. Why do we say that?
I don't know. Everyone does it. I mean, it's
corset, not
several,
corset.
It's several age groups. It's all races are saying corset when it's corset. It's that thing you wrap around yourself it's a garment is a corset.
I literally Googled it. I'm like, there's two words. There's a word corset and corset, but there isn't.
No, there isn't.
There's no word.
And
That's
it
not
would
a
be
word.
spelled SETTE if it was corset.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm picturing that.
People
like,
are out of
that's a word
control.
I've written before.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about it. Like it's an unanticipated problem.
Right?
Where people are Googling my album Corvette and not finding
Corvette.
it. If you look up Corset on Amazon, my album is like the 90th offering. It's like 89 corsets and
literal
BDSM.
Corsets.
Yeah. Right.
So when I did that Googling, like I just said, of the word corset, it did those, like popular questions that people have asked using that same word. Here are some of them. Has anyone ever died from wearing a corset? Can corsets break ribs? And then this one was my favorite. Do corsets make you poop?
Would you like me to answer those questions?
Please.
No. Bran makes you poop.
Bran.
And your colon.
Thank you.
I don't know if a rib could be broken. I could see it. I'm not really sure.
No.
And what was the first question?
Has anyone died from a corset?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I have no authority to answer those questions. I will tell you that for the photo shoot of the album where I was wearing a corset
in a pool.
That was just like one of the last shots, where like obviously because I ended up going underwater and ruining my entire outfit and makeup. But that ended up being probably the best one for the album, just to have a full face and a smile and stuff like that. But Cristela Alonso, who's a hilarious comic,
yes.
Volunteered to dress me because she had done that when she was in college. That was her job, she was like a theater major, And so putting a corset on somebody is actually quite labor intensive and it's very difficult. Yeah. And I had no idea. I just thought I'd, zip it up. I forgot that they don't have zippers. Like someone's got to tie it and tighten it and keep going back and forth so that it's smooth and stuff like that. So it took her like at least 45 minutes to get it on. And then she hung out for the entire photo shoot so she could help me take it off because that's another voyage.
So Renaissance Festival here, they have one in Minnesota.
Okay. I would assume, right.
End of the summer. And that's where I see corsets every year. Are very popular there.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago we went, and they have the shops where they sell them, and you can try them on. And my wife tried one on over the clothes she was already wearing, but they were the woman same deal. This woman helped her tighten that thing, and she was very particular about like no here this order or otherwise this is not going to work.
Right.
But the weird thing they did there is they wouldn't let people you couldn't take pictures of yourself in it.
Unless you bought it?
Yes.
Well, you know what? Maybe some people just want it for the picture.
Oh, I'm sure, especially now with Instagram, whatever, everything's for the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, please put your cameras away. Wow. I didn't know I was going to be told what to do, and it's this little shop here.
You can bring out your credit card first, and then your camera.
Yeah, right, exactly. Money talks, pal. Money talks. Was that a rental corset? Did you buy that?
I bought it, and
when do you get to use it again?
Never. I got to give it away. And I bought 2 sizes, and I forgot to send the other size back, so I actually have two corsets at home.
You didn't leave the tag on the one you didn't use?
There's the return policy is pretty, and then the one I used was ruined by the chlorine. So I mean, not ruined, but
right.
Yeah.
Right. So you're still you said at the beginning here you're still swimming a lot.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I told you last time we were here was I was so excited that one of my daughters we had plans she was gonna join the swim team.
Oh right.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Yeah. Then COVID hit, and she didn't want to be involved in a sport, which was like, okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then this fall came around, and I was like, all right, here we go. Gonna get my daughter on the swim team. Dad, you're gonna hate this, but I'm gonna play volleyball. So she's playing volleyball.
That's cool.
It is cool. It's totally cool.
Whatever they want.
Yeah, I'm just happy she's involved in something and she's enjoying it.
Yeah.
But my dream of a swimmer has been put off for a
You
little
got to
bit
let
here.
those dreams go.
Yeah.
Like my son plays water polo. He's really good at water polo. And part of me is like, oh, I hope that translates over to swimming too, but it didn't. So, oh well. I mean, it's not, And then I look back, I'm like, I was miserable when I was a swimmer, but I why would I want that for my son? Like what's wrong with me?
But unlike in Minnesota, we're like, Jade Catapretta was here a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember how it came up, but we were talking before the podcast started, and I was saying to her about how I was a swimmer in high school, and the season is in the winter, and sometimes, practice ends, you got to head out into the cold. My hair would still be wet. It would freeze sometimes. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, why do they have it in the winter here? Is it because water polo's in the summer? And I went, water polo? I've never met anyone in Minnesota that plays water polo.
Oh, you guys don't do water polo
No,
too?
so I was like, am I wrong about that? So I looked that up. Yeah, not one high school in Minnesota does water polo.
Wow.
There's a club you can join that's like co-ed, and you can play as an adult, apparently. There's not even enough kids to have teams here. So it's just, like, it's so... we're in the same country. It's not like we're that... but it's huge there, and it doesn't even exist here.
Do high schools here have ice hockey teams?
Oh, my God.
Okay, we don't have that in
exactly.
California.
Biggest in the country here, probably. Arguably. The most popular in the country is in Minnesota. Yeah, so yeah, same deal. We have that. You have that. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Is it fun being a water polo mom?
Oh, I had the best time. So... the season ended in October, and I was still working for Conan. The show ended in June, but he kept a bunch of us on for a couple extra months, thinking we would start working on the HBO show.
Oh.
So he ended up just wanting to postpone that decision, figuring out what the show was, but we were still going to be paid till the end of October.
Oh,
it was
nice.
like... incredible unemployment.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's awesome.
But I wasn't trying to take anything during that time, just in case he called us back. I was like, I got it.
Right.
And I was being paid, so I was fine with not working. So I just I went to all my son's games, and I had so much fun just cheering and getting to know the other moms. And, as a comic, you sort of just hang out with other comedians. And because I've had a day job my son's entire life, and then a comedy job, like a night job, I've just haven't connected with other moms really in terms of being, like carpooling and stuff. I just hired like a babysitter to do stuff, but I wasn't able to also help out.
Sure.
I couldn't take a leg of something, right?
Yeah.
And so this is the first time where we all just started a water polo moms chat, and kept in touch, and it was really cool. Like I hadn't had that sort of suburban mom experience, being a comic.
Right. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it. Yeah, that's another big change in your life from the last time you were here. Is one job has disappeared.
Mm-hmm. Yes, my mom died, and so did my job. Yes. Yes.
I was just reading. So what is the... Not that it's your responsibility to know, but what is the future of Conan's HBO? Do you have any idea now? You have no idea.
Basically what I just said. We have no idea.
Still, okay.
Yeah. I think he's kind of figuring out what he wants to do, because he was he did the same sort of show for almost 28 years straight. There was just a tiny blip between the Tonight Show and TBS where he wasn't doing a late night show.
When he did the tour, yeah.
So, I think it's totally... I was surprised that he was going to immediately have another show on HBO Max. So when he, kind of said, I think I'm going to just put the brakes on the decision and see what feels right, that sort of made a lot more sense to me,
Sure. So does this mean you do more stand-up?
Yeah, I got a ton of road work coming up, and, I'm trying to offset that. Like, it's weird. Before, when I was working for Conan, I would just do road work on hiatus weeks. So it was like, maybe 8 or 10 weeks of road work a year. And it was always kind of fun and like, ooh, this is great to get out and stuff like that. And now it's, my only source of income. And so I need to do as much as possible, but also I don't want to miss out on my son, and even though my mom isn't alive to take care of him, his dad is around, so we have a way to take care of him. But I miss him. Like, I miss him this week,
Sure. Yeah.
But I also love being on the road. It's really tearing me apart. But nothing lasts forever. So I'll just try to enjoy this intense amount of road work that I have while I have it.
There you go.
And see how things turn out. Life is so strange.
I saw. I think I saw it on your Twitter. It said something like, doing Wednesday through Saturday feels like a residency.
It does. There's hardly any clubs that are like full weeks anymore.
Yeah.
Like I wish we had a Tuesday too. We didn't have a Tuesday this week. But
that was a switch when COVID switched that.
Oh, so
Acme's
there's
no
no
longer
Tuesdays?
open Mondays.
Oh.
Open mic is now Tuesday.
Okay.
So nobody has a Tuesday anymore.
So it's a Wednesday through Saturday, is it? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. The really cool thing about Acme is it's in a great part of town, and it's almost like you get to be a resident of Minneapolis for a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun. Like, I'm going to go to Whole Foods after this and grab some groceries, and I've always liked pretending I was a Minneapolisonian.
Yeah, that's it.
For
Nailed
3 or 4 days once a year, So I've always enjoyed that, and it's a great walking town too.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been, throughout my career, although most clubs now are like 3 days most, but a lot of them are just Friday, Saturday.
Yeah,
So you spend
more and
Friday as
more.
your travel day, and you just try to get through your Friday shows, and then Saturday you can kind of relax a little bit, but you have 2 shows that night and you're exhausted from the day before. So it's not like you're out seeing movies and going to museums and going to the pool, like doing all the things you would like squeeze in a week.
Right.
So Saturday for me is more of maybe I'll go to a breakfast place and kind of get the local flavor, and then return to my hotel room, put my robe on, and just prep for the shows, just totally chill out. So it's nice to go, oh, it's only Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have to repack immediately. I put my shit away in the hotel. When I was just on Fort Collins last week, and I just didn't take anything out of the suitcase because I flew in on Friday and I was leaving on Sunday. So why take out my underpants? I know where they are. But here, I got here Tuesday night, mise en place, I put everything away. And I was like, this is like a home. This is my little home till Sunday.
You brought liners for the drawers and everything.
Of course.
Make
Of course.
it your own. So when you tell your son, I got shows Wednesday through Saturday. Mom, no one does shows on Wednesday anymore.
No. Why? He has no comment on that. What kid is hip to club schedules?
None whatsoever.
None of them.
None whatsoever. Absolutely none. Nimesh Patel was here last week, and he was like, hey, is the Mississippi River close to here? I was like, oh, it's like just around the corner.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
you need to go for a walk and go check that out.
I knew there was a river there, and I'm like, is that not the Mississippi? So I was just waiting to see what your answer was to his question before I was like, oh, duh. Yeah, it's right behind the hotel.
Jeez, I think it is. And somebody call me out if I'm wrong. That's fine. You mentioned it briefly. You did a set on James Corden recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's not the truth is, I mention late night sets of comedians a lot less than I used to in the first several years of this podcast. There just seems to be a lot less of them.
Well,
I mean, there's less shows. There's less comedians being invited onto shows, it seems.
I don't know why, because it's a no-brainer. Like,
right?
It's one segment you don't have to worry about, as the host. It's like, all right, you be funny. I'm just going to watch.
Yeah.
Corden's doing a lot. Like,
Is he?
he just, kicked it up a notch. It's really cool. And he does a great job of prepping the audience so the audience is, so excited. He's had quite a few comics on since they've returned to a studio audience.
Oh, okay.
I think Fallon is doing a lot too. And I think with Colbert, because they tape the comics separately,
yes,
they're backlogged. So they're
like fill-in spot. Like, we need
that's
time
kind
to
of
fill.
like a plug and play kind of
Plug
thing.
and play. That's a better way to put it.
So which makes it tough because if they don't catch up, they have to catch up to the comics that they've already taped their sets and put them in a show.
Yeah.
So, that's if they get behind, then I think they just might be behind on taping stuff.
You probably we got to be careful about the election jokes are not going to be aired now.
Well, I don't know that any comic would.
Probably
I don't know.
It wouldn't pass the initial.
No, when you're on a late night show, the host is going to do political jokes probably. So, usually it's material you've honed for a while, and so it's not going to be. Most people aren't honing Trump jokes. Like you hope they become irrelevant like he does as soon as possible. You know what I mean?
I've been working on this one since The Apprentice. I'm not letting it go. Could you imagine?
Yes, I can't imagine that. Sadly.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately. Could you so last week when Nimesh was here, I mentioned the Spotify thing, and I was like, yeah, people's material being pulled off Spotify.
Yeah.
He didn't know about that at that point. Can you explain what's your version of what's going on there?
From what I understand, okay, so Spotify plays our tracks, and we get, I think, thousandths of a cent per play. So, like, someone said like they had 20,000 streams, and they got like $60 or something where it's just like, what? You would have to be on an Adele level to really make enough money to even pay a mortgage or something, right?
Yeah.
So this group called Spoken Giants, which is part of my record company's part of it, and some other people are part of it. They're trying. Here's how a song is paid out. They pay half the money for the performance, and then they pay half the money to the songwriter, right? So the reason Dolly Parton is so wealthy is that people keep covering her songs. So Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, half the money goes to Whitney's estate, half goes to Dolly Parton, right? With stand-up, half of the money goes to the performer, and then the songwriting half doesn't go anywhere. And I guess apparently Spotify's keeping it. They're all keeping it, I guess. So Spoken Giants is saying that writing money should go to the comedians because they're doing the same thing that the songwriter is, which is writing the lyrics to the joke.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what that is, and so they're pressing forward and trying to sue for all that money. And they're also going to take a percentage. I signed up with them because I was like, well, I'm not going to sue Spotify for that money. So if you do it and you get it, you can have the percentage that I signed up for. Oh. That's fine. So that's what they're doing. And Spotify retaliated by taking down a lot of albums, which it sucks in a way. I mean, it's not like people are making a ton of streaming money, but it does get your name out there and get in, and have people listen to you, and then you pop up at their club and they go, oh, that's that person I heard. I think I think that's how engaged the comedy fans are, in my opinion. I think that person maybe I know, right? And maybe they'll come to the show.
Yeah.
And that's where you make money as a performer, is you fill the room and you sell merch afterwards.
Yeah. Do you what do you think about the new, like how much people are working on TikTok videos now? And
I would love to find a way to do TikTok that's fun. I think you got to have fun doing it. So like there's I forget her last name, Mary. She's Armenian. She's a LA comic, and she all of a sudden started filling rooms at Flappers, and I go, whoa, that's crazy. And she has a character that's an Armenian aunt. Like, she does an accent and stuff like that. And it's fucking incredibly popular.
Yeah.
And so she can fill rooms. But I think it's something she enjoys doing. So it's not like probably a headache or a hassle or, oh, here's another thing I have to do to promote. Like, I think you should be having fun. If you're a comic, you're funny. You should find a way to have fun with it. And if you can't, then don't do it. And find the ones you do. Like, I love Twitter because I'm an asshole, and I like being an asshole on Twitter. So that's natural for me. So it's fun for me. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And if there was a way I could be myself on TikTok that didn't feel like work, that felt like me just being more me, I would totally do it.
I see. I'm lost so much interest in Twitter in the last, I don't know, 2 years probably. But you are still one of the I love checking in just to see your stuff. Like, there's just a handful of people. I'm like, they're still doing it really well, but there's so much. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
What a drain on my
Totally.
morale. But but there's the handful of people I'm like, Laurie still is so good on Twitter.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. I don't know about that whole TikTok thing. Last week I started an account so I could check out some videos, and I told my daughter about that. She's like, you just wanted an account. You don't have to have an account to watch videos. Well, I don't know. I've only gone back one day since then. Only one day. Only one day since then. Something I want to mention before we're done here is that the set that that they posted from James Corden is on YouTube, and I looked at the comments and then saw your replies to some of the comments.
See,
you're
that's
the best.
Why I'm a natural on Twitter.
Yes,
like, I will respond to you. I'm not going to pretend I didn't see it. Yeah.
I mean, do you? What? And it wasn't.
I forget what they were. It's always sexist shit.
I took screenshots.
Okay.
So let's see here. Considering how popular certain types of categories are, this might not work the way she's hoping. I don't even know what that meant. And you replied, "Hush now," which I just love.
I don't know what that meant either.
I don't know. I feel bad for her teenage son. I sure hope he isn't real. And you replied, "Why?"
Yeah, that was so stupid. What do you
agree.
mean? You think I made up a son? What?
Please tell me he isn't real. That's just terrible. What a terrible. You said, I disagree like all teenagers and my son. You'd probably think anything your mom did was lame.
Yeah, he doesn't watch stand-up. He doesn't care. He thinks all stand-ups are lame because of me. But he loves anime, If I loved anime, he would love stand-up. So, it's...
Oh, that's hilarious. How do you Christmas is coming around. How do you do
What?
that? Later this month.
Okay.
And it never changes. And how do you guys do that? Do you just come up with your own ideas for him? Does he give you a list of 19 anime things that he wants? How do you guys do that?
He wants a book on how to draw anime. He wants to have his own anime studio when he grows up.
Awesome.
So he draws constantly. He has like stuff in the works, and so I think he wants some how-to books. And then his dad and he won't listen to the podcast because I'm on it. We got him a gaming chair. I guess they're a special kind of chair.
Yes, they are.
And so we got him one of those. He has a YouTube channel where he, does games and stuff like that. I wouldn't, watch someone else play a video game, but plenty of people do. So he has a channel where he plays video games.
My 15-year-old daughter has a lot in common with him. Both.
Yeah, I bet.
Huge into anime, gaming, gaming chair.
Yeah.
Yep. But like for last year, we all pitched in money to get her the gaming computer.
Oh, neat!
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
In hindsight, that might have been a mistake, but
you know what? These kids are living through a shitty time, and they know the world is falling apart. And give them a fucking gaming chair. We really did them wrong on so many levels.
Right. This year I'm giving her an ashtray to go along with.
Start smoking, child.
Come on. World sucks. Here's an ashtray. You figure it out. Let's see. Is there anything else we should be mentioning here? I always say that, and there's a million, but we've hit it, about a half hour here. Let's see. Did you bring merch along? Did you bring any of the old books?
Yeah, I brought my books. Yeah.
Both of them?
Yep. Shitty Mom and Dead People Suck. Yeah. They're a parenting book and a comedy about cancer and hospice and grief. I was going to say greed. Grief.
Greeks.
Greeks. Yep.
I have one more thing to say about. So this goes along.
I have the heaviest fucking merch suitcase in all of comedy.
Yeah. Okay. Are you? So you're not picking them up locally? You're literally.
I bring them
traveling
with me. That's why I flew Southwest. I gave 2 free suitcases. Yeah. I mean, Brandy, and is like, I had pins. I'm like, what do they weigh? 1/8 of an ounce.
Right.
Each of my books weighs a pound. If I bring 40 books, I almost break the weight of the scale that I'm allowed to bring a merch on.
Right.
It sucks. Don't write a book. That's my lesson. Design a pin. Don't write a book, you fools.
Bumper sticker.
I don't think people buy bumper stickers anymore.
No.
That used to be a thing. That used to be easy money. But for some reason, I'm not a pin person, but people like pins.
They're cool to look at, but
They put them on their
bring one
backpacks?
home. I'm like, what would I do with that?
I don't know. I think it's like just swag for, your backpack or something. But it's odd to me that adults are into them. But Jackie, cleans up on
I
her
know
pins.
she does. Good for her. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know what I
got to
would do
pin
with-
it up. I got to get a pin.
What am I gonna do? What? I've seen those guys. You go to like a sporting event, and they'll be the people that collect. Like they'll have like Minnesota Vikings pins from 40 years, and they have them all on like their jersey. It looks terrible. It looks awful.
They look single to me.
Well, very, very much so. All right, well, let's do this again in less than
next
a year
pandemic.
and a half.
Yes,
certainly before the next pandemic comes around. Please, yes, absolutely. I should finish every episode with that. Before the next pandemic, we'll see each other again.
Yes.
Thank you, Laurie.
Thank you.